I smiled as I checked the small velvet box in my pocket for the 10th time. Tonight will be perfect, I whispered. 1 year together, and the rest of our lives ahead. I stepped into Victoria's office carrying flowers and our favorite dessert. The receptionist smiled. She's in the conference room, she said. Great, don't tell her I'm here. I want it to be a surprise. I walked quietly toward the room, but voices stopped me before I reached the door. Richard Hayes spoke first. Are you certain about this? Victoria answered without hesitation. Yes, Dad. What about Ethan? I'll handle him. You've been together for years. I know. Then why marry Damien Brooks? I froze. Victoria sighed. Because Damien has everything Ethan doesn't. Richard lowered his voice. Money isn't everything. It is when you're building a future. Ethan loves you. Love doesn't buy houses. Love doesn't own companies. Love won't make me powerful. My chest tightened. Richard asked, do you think Ethan deserves this? No. Then why do it? Because I deserve more than he can ever give me. Couldn't breathe. Richard spoke again. Does Damien know you'll accept? Yes. I already said yes. The flowers slipped from my hand. Victoria gasped. Ethan? I pushed the door open. I heard enough. She stared at me, but her face stayed calm. When were you standing there? Long enough to hear that I'm not worth your future. Richard looked ashamed. I'll leave you two alone. The door closed behind him. I looked at Victoria. Tell me I misunderstood. You didn't. So everything we planned meant nothing? It meant something then. Then, she folded her arms. People change. I was saving for our wedding. I know. I worked late every night for us. I know. I believed every promise you made. I meant them when I said them. Then what happened? She looked straight into my eyes. I realized love isn't enough. I shook my head. You never cared about money before. I told myself I didn't. And now I refuse to struggle for the rest of my life. So you chose Damien. Yes. You chose my enemy. He's successful. He's cruel. He's powerful. And I'm nothing? She stayed silent. That silence hurt more than any insult ever could. I reached into my pocket and wrapped my fingers around the engagement ring, suddenly afraid of what would happen when I pulled it out. I stared at my phone for almost a minute before answering. Hello? Am I speaking with Ethan Carter? Yes. My name is Olivia Bennett. I represent William Carter. I don't know anyone by that name. You should. He's your grandfather. I laughed without humor. My grandparents died years ago. No, Mr. Carter. They didn't. Stop playing games. I'm not. Please meet me tomorrow morning. I have documents that will answer every question. I don't have time for scams. I expected that response. So we're finished. Before you hang up, ask yourself one question. What? How did I know your parents' names? I froze. She continued. I also know where you grew up, where you work, and why you never met your father's family. My voice became quieter. Who are you? I already told you. My name is Olivia Bennett. I'm your grandfather's attorney. I ended the call, but I couldn't sleep. The next morning, curiosity defeated my anger. I walked into a quiet law office. A woman in a gray suit stood and offered her hand. Mr. Carter? I'm Ethan. I'm Olivia. I sat carefully. If this is a joke, end it now. It isn't. She slid a folder across the table. Open it. Inside were my birth certificate, childhood photographs I had never seen, and letters addressed to me. How did you get these? They belonged to your grandfather. I've never met him. I know. Then why would he keep pictures of me? Because he's watched your life from a distance. I looked up sharply. That's impossible. It isn't. Why didn't he come himself? Because he believed you deserved a normal life before learning who you were. I shook my head. None of this makes sense. Olivia remained calm. William Carter built Carter Global Holdings from nothing. Today, it's one of the largest business empires in the country. I frowned. I've heard of that company. You should. One day it may belong to you. I almost laughed again. You expect me to believe that? I expect you to listen. Why me? Because he searched for someone worthy, not someone greedy. I'm just an ordinary project manager. Exactly. She looked directly into my eyes. You never knew your family name carried power, yet you still chose honesty over shortcuts. Your grandfather has watched every major decision you've made. I swallowed hard. Even when I had nothing? Especially then. For the first time since Victoria betrayed me, I felt something stronger than heartbreak. Confusion. I won't give you the company. William's first words surprised me. I looked across his office and asked, then why call me your heir? He folded his hands. Because being an heir and becoming a leader are different things. I don't understand. You will. Olivia placed a thick folder in front of me. Read the first page. I opened it. Leadership evaluation? William nodded. I built this company with discipline. I won't destroy it by handing it to someone who isn't ready. I've never asked for shortcuts. Good answer, he said. Now prove it. Olivia smiled slightly. Your training starts today. I took a deep breath. I'm ready. We'll see, William replied. The first assignment looked simple. Olivia said, 3 department managers are arguing over the same budget. Decide who gets the money. I need more information. Why? Because guessing would hurt innocent people. William leaned back. So you refuse to make a quick decision? I refuse to make a careless one. Olivia nodded. Good. Ask your questions. For 2 hours I listened instead of speaking. When the meeting ended, William looked at me. Why did you choose the research department? Because their project helps the company grow long-term. And the other managers? I promised to review their requests next month. William smiled for the first time. You solved the problem without creating enemies. The next lesson was harder. Olivia placed another file on the desk. One executive hid a mistake that cost the company thousands. So I fire him? Would you? I need to hear his side first. She crossed her arms. Even if investors demand immediate action, justice shouldn't depend on pressure. William looked pleased again. You think before reacting. Isn't that what leaders should do? Most don't. Days became weeks. Every morning brought another challenge. Every evening left me exhausted. Whenever frustration appeared, Olivia pushed even harder. She asked, why are you angry? Because nothing I do feels good enough. Good enough for whom? For William. She shook her head. Wrong. I frowned. Then for who? For yourself. Those words stayed with me. One evening Daniel knocked on my apartment door carrying 2 takeout bags. You look terrible, he said. I've had better weeks. He laughed. I figured. I sat beside him. What if I'm not good enough? He handed me a drink. You survived losing Victoria. Barely. You survived learning your whole life was built on secrets. I still don't know how to feel. So stop trying to solve everything today. I looked at him. You always make things sound simple. They usually are. I still think about revenge. Daniel smiled gently. Then become successful enough that revenge stops mattering. His words stayed with me long after he left. For the first time, I wondered if winning meant becoming someone Victoria could never hurt again. I adjusted my tie outside the executive conference room. Olivia looked at me and smiled. Nervous. A little. Good. Good. It means you still care about doing the right thing. I nodded. Remember what William taught me. She crossed her arms. Tell me. Listen first. Speak with purpose. Never let emotions make business decisions. She smiled. You're ready. The doors opened. I walked into the room without lowering my head. Executives filled both sides of the long table. Conversations stopped as I entered. William stood. Good morning, everyone. The room answered together. Good morning, sir. He looked toward me. Ethan, begin. I stepped forward and connected my presentation. Thank you. My voice stayed calm. Our first proposal focuses on expanding our technology division while reducing unnecessary operating costs. One executive interrupted. How will you protect employee jobs? I won't cut people before cutting waste. Another executive asked, what if profits fall? We invest wisely instead of reacting with panic. Several people nodded. William remained silent, watching me carefully. As the discussion continued, I answered every question with confidence. Then the conference room doors opened again. I looked up. My heartbeat stopped for a moment. Victoria walked inside beside Damien. She froze. Our eyes met. Ethan? Her voice barely reached me. Damien laughed loudly. Well, this is unexpected. I stayed silent. He looked around the room. Did someone hire you to carry coffee? A few uncomfortable faces looked away. I simply returned to my presentation. Our projected growth remains stable over 5 years. Damien smirked. You're pretending to belong here. I closed my laptop. I'm presenting because I was invited. He laughed again. By whom? William stood before I could answer. I invited him. The room became completely quiet. Damien forced a smile. Mr. Carter, surely this is some kind of internship. William looked directly at him. No. Victoria stared at me without blinking. William continued. Ethan Carter has completed every challenge I placed before him. Damien frowned. I don't understand. You don't need to. William turned toward the executives. I've spent months evaluating future leadership. Everyone listened carefully. I have chosen Ethan Carter as my successor for executive development. Whispers spread across the room. Victoria looked completely confused. She whispered, Successor? Damien shook his head. This has to be a joke. William answered calmly. I never joke about my company. I watched Victoria searching my face for answers. For the first time since she left me, I didn't look away. I simply met her eyes with quiet confidence. Inside, I realized something had changed. I no longer wanted her approval. I only wanted to prove to myself that I deserved to stand exactly where I was. The morning after the executive meeting, Olivia placed another file on my desk. Today's lesson isn't about numbers, she said. What is it about? People. I opened the file. Employee complaints? She nodded. Leadership isn't tested when everyone agrees with you. It's tested when people are afraid. I spent the next 2 hours speaking with department managers and junior employees. One young analyst looked nervous. I don't want anyone knowing I complained. You have my word, I replied. Thank you. What happened? She lowered her voice. Damien Brooks humiliated our entire team during a joint meeting. What did he say? He called us replaceable. I wrote careful notes. No employee deserves that. She smiled weakly. I wish more executives believed that. Later that afternoon, William joined me. What did you learn? Fear destroys good work faster than failure. He nodded. Exactly. Before I could say anything else, someone knocked. Olivia opened the door. A visitor is here. Who? Nathan Brooks. The name surprised me. Damien's younger brother entered quietly. I appreciate you seeing me. I stood. I wasn't expecting this. I know. He hesitated before speaking again. I owe you an apology. For what? My brother. I remained silent.
Nathan sighed.
I know what Damien did to you. You weren't responsible. I still hate it. He looked genuinely uncomfortable. Damien enjoys controlling people. I've noticed. He doesn't see relationships as relationships. What does he see? Business deals. I thought about Victoria. Nathan continued. He didn't marry her because he loved her. I assumed that. He married her because her public image improved his company. My chest tightened despite everything. Nathan looked at me carefully. I know you still care. I care about who she used to be. He nodded. That's understandable. Why are you telling me this? His expression turned serious. Because Damien isn't finished. What do you mean? He's preparing to attack William's company. I frowned. How? I don't know every detail. Then why warn me? Because someone should. I extended my hand. Thank you. He shook it firmly. Be careful. After he left, Olivia asked quietly, Do you trust him? I don't know. But he looked nothing like Damien. She smiled. Sometimes the same family produces very different people. Before I answered, another woman entered carrying several reports. Olivia introduced her. Ethan, this is Charlotte Evans. Charlotte smiled politely. It's nice to meet you. You too. I'm joining the executive finance team today. I welcomed her. Then let's get to work. She placed charts across the table. I reviewed your expansion proposal. And I disagreed with 3 sections. Most people would have praised me simply because of my new position. Charlotte didn't. I smiled. Show me. She immediately explained every concern with confidence. When she finished, I nodded. You're right. She looked surprised. You're changing the proposal? If your ideas make it stronger, why wouldn't I? For the first time that day, I saw genuine respect in someone's eyes. It had nothing to do with my family name. It had everything to do with the choices I made. I stood beside William backstage as hundreds of business leaders filled the ballroom. He adjusted his tie and looked at me. Are you ready? I don't know. He smiled. Good leaders never believe they know everything. Olivia walked over with a tablet. The press is waiting. Charlotte handed me another folder. Final financial reports. I accepted it. Thank you. She smiled. You've already earned this moment. William placed one hand on my shoulder. Today changes everything. The lights dimmed. An announcer stepped onto the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome William Carter. The room erupted with applause. William walked to the podium. I remained behind the curtain. My friends, he began. I've spent my entire life building Carter Global Holdings. The applause returned. When I started this company, I had nothing except determination. He paused. Today I announce my retirement. The ballroom fell silent. I have spent many months searching for the right successor. People whispered across the room. William continued. I wasn't searching for the richest candidate. Another pause. I wasn't searching for the most famous candidate. He smiled. I searched for character. My heartbeat became louder. I found that character in one man. He turned toward me. Ethan Carter. Olivia nodded. It's time. I walked onto the stage. The room stared at me. I recognized executives, reporters, investors, and competitors. Then I saw Victoria. Her face turned completely pale. Beside her, Damien narrowed his eyes. William raised my hand. Effective today, Ethan Carter becomes the sole heir and future chairman of Carter Global Holdings. Gasps spread throughout the ballroom. Cameras flashed endlessly. Victoria whispered something I couldn't hear. Damien stepped forward. This is impossible. William answered calmly. It is official. Damien laughed bitterly. You expect us to believe this stranger deserves your empire? William looked directly at him. I expect you to respect my decision. I stepped toward the microphone. I know many of you have questions. The room became quiet again. I won't ask for your trust today. Several reporters began writing. I'll earn it. One investor stood. What experience do you have? I've spent months learning every department instead of hiding inside an office. Another executive asked, Will the company change? Yes. The room waited. We'll become stronger by respecting both our employees and our partners. William smiled proudly. When the announcement ended, reporters rushed forward. Before anyone reached me, Damien blocked my path. So this was your secret. It wasn't a secret. You fooled everyone. I didn't even know myself. He stepped closer. You think this changes anything? It changes everything. His smile disappeared. This isn't over. I never expected it to be. Victoria finally found her voice. Ethan. I looked at her. Shock filled her eyes. For the first time since our breakup, she seemed to understand exactly what she had thrown away. Instead of satisfaction, I felt calm. William had been right. Real strength wasn't proving someone wrong. It was becoming someone stronger than the pain they caused. The first sign that Damien was losing control arrived before sunrise. Olivia walked into my office carrying a sealed envelope. "You need to see this." I looked up. "What is it?" She placed the envelope on my desk. It came from Nathan Brooks. I opened it carefully. Inside were copies of contracts, financial records, and private emails. I looked at Olivia. "Are these real?" "We've already verified them." I turned another page. My heart raced. These payments were hidden. Olivia nodded. So were several shell companies. A quiet knock interrupted us. Nathan stepped inside. "Thank you for meeting me." I stood. "You took a huge risk." "I know. Why now?" He looked exhausted. "I've watched my brother destroy good people for years. You could have stayed silent." "I almost did." He lowered his eyes. "But silence made me part of the problem." I respected his honesty. "What happens if Damien discovers this?" "I'll deal with it." Olivia spoke calmly. "These records could expose years of fraud." Nathan nodded. "They will." I closed the folder. "Thank you." "I'm not helping you because you're winning." "Then why?" "Because someone finally deserves to." After Nathan left, Olivia looked at me. "What do you want to do?" I thought about every insult Damien had thrown at me. "I want the truth to speak for itself." She smiled. "That's the right answer." 3 days later, the news exploded. Every business channel carried the same headline. Investigators had opened multiple inquiries into Damien's companies. Investors demanded answers. Board members resigned. Charlotte entered my office holding her phone. "The market is reacting fast." "How bad?" "His largest company lost almost 30% this morning." I remained quiet. Charlotte studied my face. "You don't look happy." "I don't feel happy." "You waited a long time for this." "I waited for justice." She smiled. "There's a difference." Before I answered, another message appeared on my phone. Victoria wanted to see me. I stared at the screen. Charlotte asked softly, "Will you meet her?" "I don't know." "You still care." "I care about the man I used to be." She nodded. "Then remember who you are now." That evening I arrived at a quiet park. Victoria stood near the fountain. She looked nothing like the confident woman who had walked away from me. Her eyes were red. Her shoulders slumped. When she saw me, she whispered my name. "Ethan." I stopped a few feet away. "You wanted to talk." She took a shaky breath. "I finally know the truth." I waited without speaking. Tears filled her eyes. Everything I believed about Damien was a lie. For a moment, I remembered the woman I once planned to marry. Then I remembered the day she chose money over me. I listened, but I no longer felt the need to rescue her. My phone rang before sunrise. Olivia's voice sounded calm. "It's over." I sat up immediately. "What happened?" "Damien was arrested early this morning." I closed my eyes. "So the investigation is finished." The investigators found enough evidence to file multiple criminal charges. I remained silent. Olivia continued. "News stations are already covering it. I'll be there soon." When I arrived at headquarters, Charlotte met me outside the boardroom. "You should see this." She handed me a tablet. Every headline carried Damien's name beside the words fraud, corruption, and arrest. I sighed quietly. Charlotte looked at me. "Does it feel like victory?" "It feels like consequences." She smiled. "That's a healthier answer." William entered the room. "The board meeting starts in 5 minutes." We took our seats. William looked around the table. "For years our company competed against fear." He turned toward me. "Today we compete with integrity." The directors applauded. After the meeting ended, William asked me to stay. When we were alone, he spoke softly. "I owe you something." "You don't owe me anything." "I owe you the truth." I waited. I spent years believing success mattered more than family. He lowered his eyes. "I was wrong." I felt the weight behind his words. He continued. I watched you grow into a man your parents would be proud of. My throat tightened. I spent years wondering why my family disappeared. I'm sorry. So am I. William stepped closer. I cannot change the past. I know. But I hope I can still be your grandfather. I smiled for the first time that morning. You already are. He hugged me without another word. For the first time since learning the truth about my family, I felt the distance between us disappear. Later that afternoon, Charlotte knocked on my office door. Do you have a minute? Always. She smiled gently. I wanted to tell you something. I leaned back. I'm listening. I admired you long before I learned about your inheritance. I looked surprised. Really? You treated everyone with respect before anyone called you powerful. Her words stayed with me. Thank you. She laughed softly. I thought you should know. For the first time in months, my future felt built on trust instead of pain. Several months passed before I finally found a quiet morning to stand alone in my office. I looked through the tall windows at the city below. The same streets that once made me feel invisible now reminded me how far I had come. A gentle knock interrupted my thoughts. William stepped inside. Am I disturbing you? Never. He smiled. You've changed. I hope for the better. You have. He stood beside me and looked across the skyline. When I was your age, I believed success meant owning buildings. And now I know success means having people who would stand beside you even if the buildings disappeared. I nodded. I finally understand that. William rested a hand on my shoulder. I'm proud to call you my grandson. Those words meant more than every headline celebrating my success. Thank you. No, he replied softly. Thank you for giving this family another chance. After he left, Olivia entered. The board approved your newest community project. I smiled. Good. You've changed the company's culture. I only treated people the way I wanted to be treated. She laughed. Sometimes leadership really is that simple. Daniel appeared a few minutes later carrying coffee. I thought successful chairmen still needed caffeine. They definitely do. He handed me a cup. I always knew you'd make it. I wasn't so sure. That's why you needed friends. I looked at him gratefully. You never stopped believing in me. I never had a reason to. When Daniel left, I stood alone again. For a brief moment, I thought about Victoria. The pain wasn't there anymore. Only a quiet memory remained. I whispered to myself, I forgive you, not because she deserved another chance, because I deserved peace. I smiled as I looked outside once more. The greatest inheritance I received was never measured in money. It was the strength I found after losing everything.